Well, tonight on Gravitas, our big focus is on the Dark Eagle versus new deadly weapon battle that has emerged in the Iran war. Even as tensions deepen, reports of potential fresh strikes keep the conflict and the world on an edge. We're also talking about the big Trump-Xi meeting expected in 2 weeks from now. Ahead of that, what is at stake and why should the world care? We're breaking it down for you. And this one's a startling revelation about football legend Diego Maradona. His psychologist has said that the late star suffered from bipolar disorder. We get you the details tonight. The high-stakes military posturing is underway in West Asia, and it raises fresh questions whether Washington is heading toward another round of conflict with Tehran. The signs on the ground suggest that possibility is growing stronger by the day. Israel is now on heightened alert, and it is stepping up preparations for a possible return to hostilities with Iran. This, remember, comes amid indications that Donald Trump may be closing in on a decision over renewed military action. Such reports are coming in as Donald Trump was briefed at the White House on military options by the U.S. Central Command Chief Admiral Brad Cooper. And the preparations aren't just theoretical. In a massive show of force, Washington has already shipped over 6,500 tons of munitions and military equipment to Tel Aviv in just 24 hours. This includes advanced weapons, tactical vehicles, and ground support systems. But even as these preparations intensify, any direct conflict with Iran is far from straightforward. From advanced drone warfare to long-range missile systems, Iran has demonstrated its ability to challenge both U.S. and Israeli defenses using asymmetrical tactics across West Asia and the Indian Ocean to shock its adversaries.
Iranian forces have already stunned their adversaries during the initial phase of the war. It has destroyed billions of dollars worth of US military assets, including a high-value radar surveillance aircraft. The use of Arash suicide drones and Shahid 136 loitering munitions has further boosted IRGC's capability to target US bases in West Asia. What is even more concerning is Iran's deployment of large swarms of drones, which has overwhelmed crucial defense systems like Israel's Iron Dome and US Patriot systems. And then came a major strategic shock for US and Israel. On March 20th, Iran fired long-range ballistic missiles towards the US-UK base at Diego Garcia in Chagos. The target was nearly 4,000 kilometers away and demonstrates Tehran's strike range as it exceeds previously declared limits of 2,000 kilometers. Iran's arsenal includes systems like the Khorramshahr 4, Ghadar 110 and Imad. All are capable of striking Israel and US bases across the region. But perhaps the biggest surprise has been Iran's resilience. Despite losing top leadership early in the conflict, its military structure did not collapse. Instead, the IRGC activated its mosaic defense strategy, dividing the country into autonomous combat units capable of operating independently without any central command.
As the military tensions rise, so does the rhetoric and the mockery. Iran's Supreme Leader Mojtaba Khamenei has claimed that Washington has suffered a disgraceful defeat. He also is vowing to protect Iran's nuclear assets despite continued pressure from the United States. The Iranian naval commander, Rear Admiral Shahram Irani, took it further and issued a strong warning. He claims that a new weapon, one he says that adversaries will deeply fear, will soon be revealed. In response, the United States is now considering deploying one of its most advanced systems yet, a hypersonic missile known as Dark Eagle.
The Dark Eagle is ground-launched hypersonic missile and is designed for long-range precision strikes on heavily defended targets. It travels at speeds above Mach 5, which is more than 5 times the speed of sound. The Dark Eagle's speed makes it extremely difficult to detect and intercept. The hypersonic warrior has a reported range of about 2,700 kilometers, allowing it to strike deep inside enemy territory. It can target air defense systems, command centers, missile launch sites, and other high-value targets. Each missile is estimated to cost about $15 million, with only a limited number currently available, makes its deployment questionable.
Israel's military campaign in southern Lebanon is now entering a devastating new phase, with entire villages and towns being wiped off the map. What began as heavy bombardment has now escalated into systematic demolitions, leaving behind vast stretches of destruction. Lebanon's Prime Minister Nawaf Salam is pledging to reclaim every inch of the occupied territory. In a statement posted by his office, Salam said that the government will work to restore sovereignty, push reforms, and revive the struggling economy. But on the ground, the reality is much different. Waves of Israeli strikes have flattened dozens of Lebanese villages, and Israeli forces are using controlled explosions and bulldozers to reduce the villages to barren landscapes.
Our houses were all destroyed. This word destroyed applies to everyone. The young man's house was destroyed. His father's house was destroyed. My house was destroyed. There is no one. All the houses were destroyed.
Anger is spilling onto the streets as well. Dozens of displaced Lebanese residents and local leaders gathered in the capital, Beirut, accusing Israel of continuing demolitions despite a ceasefire announced on the 17th of April. They say Israel has been carrying out demolitions in more than 50 villages in the south and preventing residents from returning.
We can't go back. It's been bulldozed. Basically, there's nothing to go back to, and they are preventing us from returning. Many who managed to return to their homes in South Lebanon found their homes in ruins.
We have to go back home to our city. Where else can we go? The last time they attacked the house, we repaired the damage, but this time they hit it again.
In just the last 3 days, Israeli forces have reportedly issued evacuation orders to more than 20 Lebanese villages, and on ground the violence continues to intensify, with Israel claiming that it has struck over 40 targets across southern Lebanon. Lebanon's health ministry reports that at least 17 people have been killed in the recent Israeli attacks, including 6 in a strike on the village of Zebdin. Visuals show Israeli fighter jets overhead and thick smoke rising from various Lebanese towns like Yahmor and Majdal Salem. Israel has also released the footage of airstrikes targeting what it calls underground tunnel networks in Ras Beada, while Hezbollah claims it has carried out over a dozen new strikes targeting Israeli troops, tanks, and equipment. The Israeli military says that it has intercepted Hezbollah drones and reported injuries among its soldiers as well. Despite the ceasefire on paper, the conflict shows no signs of slowing down, as southern Lebanon continues to bear the brunt of it. A top Israeli military general has warned that the surge in extremist settler violence across the West Bank could ignite a full-scale Palestinian uprising. This is as per Israeli media reports. The Israel Defense Forces Central Command Chief, Major General Avi Bluth, described the trend of violent settler actions as, quote, Jewish terrorism. During a closed-door meeting, this is what he has said. Bluth has reportedly cautioned the Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu and the senior cabinet members that the situation on ground in West Bank is becoming increasingly volatile. He has reportedly urged immediate steps to diffuse tensions, including the release of withheld funds that are meant for Palestinian Authority, funds that are allegedly blocked by Israel's finance minister, Bezalel Smotrich. The general has reportedly drawn a direct connection between rising settler attacks and retaliatory Palestinian violence. He's also indicated that some extremist settlers may be attempting to take advantage of the Iran war to intensify unrest. International observers continue to accuse the Israeli government of failing to act decisively against such violence. The Israel Defense Forces have also faced criticism for often standing by while these attacks unfold. Reports suggest that attacks ranging from attacks on civilians in West Bank to arson and property destruction are occurring with increasing frequency, while arrests and convictions remain rare. As per the United Nations data, over 1,000 Palestinians have been killed in the West Bank between October of 2023 and April this year. Among them, 235 were children. At least 35 deaths have been recorded this year alone, and just last week, 2 Palestinians were killed in a West Bank village following an attack on a local school. Even Israel's top military leadership has expressed concerns. The IDF Chief of Staff, Lieutenant General Eyal Zamir, has recently condemned settler violence, calling them morally unacceptable and strategically damaging. So the IDF's warning is perhaps clear. West Bank stands on the edge, and the consequences could be far-reaching. Ahead of U.S. President Donald Trump's visit to China from the 14th to the 15th of May, Beijing has upped the ante, with Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi telling his counterpart Marco Rubio that the Taiwan question is the biggest risk in the U.S.-China ties. In their first publicly known conversation since the beginning of the West Asia War, Wang emphasized that the Taiwan question concerns China's core interests. He urged America to honor its commitments and make the right choices to open new space for U.S.-China cooperation. As per Chinese state media, Marco Rubio termed the U.S.-China relationship as the most important bilateral relationship in the world and stressed that both sides should respect each other and properly handle differences. They also reportedly exchanged views on the situation in West Asia. After America announced weapon sales worth $11 billion to Taiwan in December last year, China, remember, had made its displeasure very clear. Subsequently, though, Trump hinted at reviewing this decision. Now let's tell you what is at stake for the American president as he meets his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping in 2 weeks' time. The answer lies in Beijing's behind-the-scenes role in the West Asia war. China's diplomatic heft cannot be understated. The U.S. president had himself revealed that China had helped get Iran to the negotiating table to agree for an initial 2-week conditional ceasefire. As per reports, Beijing asked Iran to show flexibility and diffuse tensions. Now, as U.S. and Iran continue to be at loggerheads over the Strait of Hormuz, China's role in the next few days may prove to be vital. Because being Iran's largest trading partner, which purchases roughly 90% of its crude oil, China has been pushing for reopening this strategic waterway. In wake of this, American officials are reportedly pinning their hopes on Beijing to put pressure on Iran to make concessions. Earlier, remember, Donald Trump had claimed that Xi agreed not to supply arms to Iran. In fact, this is not all. Trump's China visit also holds significance from the economic perspective. Remember, after the initial tariff war following Trump taking over as the president, both sides backed down in May last year. While U.S. had agreed to lower its tariffs from 145% to 30%, China had decided to drop its retaliatory tariffs from 125% to just 10%. The situation escalated again in October 2025 when Trump threatened to levy 100% more tariffs on China, citing its export restrictions on rare earths. A month later, the scenario evolved after Trump met Xi Jinping. Subsequently, Donald Trump announced a trade and economic deal with China. According to him, China promised to eliminate export controls on rare earth elements and other critical minerals, end its retaliation against American semiconductor manufacturers, and resume the purchase of soybeans. Meanwhile, U.S. Secretary of Treasury Scott Bessent held trade talks with the Chinese Vice Premier He Lefeng. He complained about Beijing's recent rules punishing foreign companies seeking to shift their sourcing for critical minerals away from China. On his part, the Chinese vice premier expressed serious concerns over the U.S. trade measures against his country. Now, as Iran-America talks remain in limbo at the moment, the upcoming Trump and Xi meeting is likely to have an impact on not only the U.S.-China relationship, but also on the West Asian front. All right, shifting our focus now, days after shooting at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, the United States Department of Justice has released a video footage of the man accused of trying to assassinate President Donald Trump. Jean Perot, who's the U.S. attorney for the District of Columbia, shared the footage on social media platform X, saying it showed Cole Allen scouting the area at the Washington Hilton during the day ahead of Saturday's attack at the annual media gala. Now, Allen on Thursday agreed to remain in custody while his federal criminal case moves forward. His attorney, during a federal court hearing in the Capitol, said that he was not planning immediately to contest the prosecutor's arguments that he was a danger to the community and should remain in jail. He is being detained at the Correctional Treatment Facility at the D.C. jail complex. This is the same facility that previously housed many January 6 defendants and is a newer facility than the main jail. The court was told that he is being held in a safe cell under 24-hour lockdown. The nearly 6-minute-long video shared by Piero features several clips of a man walking back and forth down a corridor and through a fitness center. In fact, a more dramatic excerpt shows the man carrying what appears to be a long-barreled gun, charging through a security checkpoint past uniformed police and agents in suits. Allen was tackled and detained in a chaotic scuffle with security guards. Shots were fired, but no one was killed. However, one Secret Service agent was injured. The video also shows the alleged attacker, Cole Thomas Allen, walk through a doorway in the hall leading to the security checkpoint. 1 second later, an officer and his dog approach the door, which leads to a separate hallway with elevators. The officer stands at the doorway looking down the hallway with elevators for approximately 12 seconds, while his dog moves in and out of the doorway. The officer and his dog eventually turn to walk away, and 1 second later, the suspect can be seen rushing back out of the doorway with a shotgun, running toward the security checkpoint. Meanwhile, Donald Trump, in a press briefing at the White House, when asked if he would consider wearing a bulletproof vest, quipped that he doesn't want it because he doesn't know if he can handle looking 20 pounds heavier.
I don't know if I can handle looking 20 pounds heavier. These guys, they look so good. Some of these guys are physical specimens. Some of these guys are trouble. I don't want to be near him. If you want to gain 20 to 25 pounds, get a vest. And frankly, the vest did an amazing job because it took a bullet close up.
Our next story is from Tibet and about a herder who is now walking the red carpet in Beijing. This remarkable journey of Tenzing Sondu, who's a young man from Tibet's Litang, changed in just 7 seconds. Let's tell you more about it. Better known across China as Ding Zhen, he shot to fame in 2020 after a short video of his smile went viral, turning a little-known herder from the Litang County into a national sensation overnight. Millions were following his story within a day, and he put his fame into good use for his community. He was appointed as a tourism ambassador then for his hometown Litang. This role not only changed his life, it also transformed the fortunes of his community. Over the years, his rise brought unprecedented attention to Litang. Tourism numbers surged, local businesses grew, adding to the new emerging opportunities for residents. Ding's story didn't stop there. 5 years on, the former herder has now stepped into a new role on the big screen. He's made his acting debut in 2025 in the romance film Everlasting Love. Ding has played the character close to his real-life roots, a Tibetan boy helping bring people together. Earlier this year, he walked the red carpet at the Beijing International Film Festival. His transformation has sparked mixed reactions, with some applauding his growth while others questioning his move into mainstream cinema. But back home, the impact is undeniable. From just 1 million visitors in 2019 to over 4 million in 2024, Litang's tourism boom has created jobs, boosted incomes, and opened up new doors for the next generation. Sharing a personal note, Ding recently reflected on his journey. He said that he doesn't know why he was so lucky, but hopes that his fortune can bring opportunities for others. All right, in other updates, life in West Asia is slowly moving towards normalcy. Cities like Dubai are now leading the effort to attract new investments despite weeks of uncertainty. But can the mega oil-rich economies of the Gulf ever get back to normalcy? Our next report puts the spotlight on Dubai. Take a look.
The shockwaves from the conflict in West Asia are beginning to settle across the Gulf, and at the center of this resilience is Dubai. Weeks of uncertainty prompted several wealthy residents to leave what was once seen as the most dependable safe haven. The city is steadily finding its footing again. Authorities have moved quickly to restore stability and continuity as the immediate fallout from regional tensions begins to ease. Cafes, restaurants, and public spaces are gradually filling up. Schools are reopening, and key business districts are buzzing with activity again. But beyond the immediate recovery is a deeper transformation that is quietly taking shape. Experts say the UAE's decision to step away from OPEC represents a bold strategic shift. By signaling intent to move away from its reliance on oil and traditional production frameworks, the country is aiming to build a more self-reliant and diversified economic model. This creates new opportunities for Dubai. Investments in tech, green energy, and global trade infrastructure are likely to accelerate, but the transition is not without risks. While the pivot signals confidence and ambition, it also introduces new uncertainties around Dubai's position as a global investment hub. This brings the focus to a bigger question. Do wealthy individuals still hold the same level of confidence in the UAE and its long-standing reputation as a safe haven?
With that, let's tell you what is coming up for you on the other side of Gravitas. A former American admiral says aliens observe all of us human beings on Earth. How much truth lies in this statement? And Buddhists across the world celebrated Buddha Purnima today. We get you how the day was marked, remembering the teachings and values of Gautam Buddha. Well, according to a briefing presented to Pakistan's National Assembly Standing Committee on Finance, the domestic economy could face losses of up to $68 billion due to the West Asian conflict. Economist Ali Salman outlined 3 potential scenarios, warning that even a short-duration conflict carries significant economic consequences. In the current scenario, based on 51 days of the war, Pakistan could see annual losses between $10 and $14 billion. This includes higher oil import costs, reduced remittances, falling exports, and increased freight charges. Inflation in this case is expected to range between 10 and 12%. If the conflict persists for 3 months, the impact could deepen. Losses may rise to between $24 billion and $32 billion annually. Monthly oil import costs could increase by $1 billion, while remittances, I apologize, Now, monthly oil import costs could increase $1 billion, while remittances and exports may drop sharply. Remember, inflation in this scenario could climb to 13 to 15%. In a severe scenario where oil prices surge to $150 per barrel, the economic damage could reach between $50 billion and $68 billion annually, equivalent to roughly 17% of Pakistan's GDP. Monthly losses in this case could hit $5.7 billion, with remittances falling by up to 40% and exports nearly halving. Inflation could spike as high as 17%. Now, this conflict, which began on the 28th of February, has already disrupted global energy flows. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif noted that Pakistan's weekly oil import bill has already jumped sharply. Despite these risks, lawmakers raised concerns over the government's fiscal management. The Finance Ministry pushed through amendments allowing greater control over debt office appointments and drawing criticism from committee members. Officials also acknowledged that Pakistan's debt to GDP ratio remains above statutory limits, underscoring broader economic vulnerabilities at a time of heightened external pressure. Shifting our focus now, a terse order from Beijing has just scuppered a $2 billion deal by Mark Zuckerberg. China has told Meta to walk away from Manus, which is one of the hottest Chinese AI startups. The message is bigger than one acquisition. Beijing is telling every AI founder in China that you can build here, but you can never leave. Remember, Manus made global headlines last year for its AI agent model that can browse the web, book flights, write codes, a digital employee, as it were. It was built in Beijing in 2022 by a parent company called Butterfly Effect. In mid-2025, like many Chinese tech entrepreneurs, the founders quietly moved headquarters to Singapore and rebranded. In December, Meta announced it was buying Manus for around $2 billion. For Beijing, that was the line. Late last month, China's top economic planner, the NDRC, issued a 54-character order that prohibited foreign investment in Manus. The deal unraveled. The NDRC did not even name Meta. It didn't have to. Within days, Beijing went further and told its biggest AI players that they cannot accept American money without explicit government approval. As Bloomberg put it, the Manus model of Chinese founders building at home and cashing out abroad is, quote, officially dead. Beijing's logic is sweeping. Any AI built on Chinese soil by Chinese engineers is a Chinese national asset, irrespective of where the company is later registered. This will have global repercussions in Washington. Hawks are likely to demand against Chinese capital, in fact, chasing American AI. Brussels has spent 2 years drafting AI sovereignty rules. In May 2025, Japan widened its Foreign Exchange and Foreign Trade Act to bring more AI and semiconductor companies under mandatory pre-closing security screening. Since January last year, any Korean company holding government-funded AI tech needs ministry approval to seek foreign funding. AI is no longer a normal industry. It is being treated almost like nuclear capability. And remember, India is not in this fight as a builder, at least not yet. With 958 million active internet users, over 100 million weekly on ChatGPT alone, India is one of the largest markets in the world that every AI company wants a piece of. But if this fight hardens, the AI tools Indians get might not be the best one, and the one that's allowed in geopolitically. Manus could have been a global product. It is stranded in Beijing now. Tomorrow, an American model could be next. There is a sharper warning for New Delhi. India is funding its own AI champions through the India AI mission. Hundreds of Indian founders have moved to the Silicon Valley chasing capital. If one of them builds the next Manus and big tech offers billions, then does India have a Manus moment ready? The pertinent question is, who owns AI built on Indian soil? China's move may backfire. By treating founders like state assets, Beijing is recreating the very environment that drove them to Singapore in the first place. The real loser will not be Meta. It will be the next generation of Chinese AI entrepreneurs who now know the state, not the market, decides who buys them. For India, the lesson isn't to copy Beijing. It is to draft its own comprehensive AI rules so it doesn't have to end up living by someone else's. A sudden burst of seismic activity near one of the world's most secretive military sites is now raising new speculation and triggering conspiracy theories about covert nuclear testing. At least 17 earthquakes have struck near the highly classified Area 51 in Nevada within just 24 hours. The area is also located close to the Nevada test site, where the United States conducted nuclear weapons tests from 1951 until 1992. The tremors ranged between magnitudes 2.5 and 4.4, with the strongest earthquake originating about 4 kilometers beneath the surface. According to the U.S. Geological Survey data, more than 100 people reported feeling the earthquakes. Scientists say the location of the largest quake is unusual. Geophysicists point out that the tremor occurred in a relatively shallow area where such activity is not commonly recorded. While they believe the earthquakes are most likely natural, they said that some aspects of the seismic readings remain unclear. The earthquakes have reignited long-standing conspiracy theories on social media surrounding Area 51. Let's tell you what this area is. Area 51 is a highly classified U.S. Air Force military installation that is located at Groom Lake in southern Nevada for flight testing. The site has been shrouded in mystery and often linked to claims about aliens, UFOs, and secret experiments. It became known as Area 51 due to its designation on maps of the U.S. Atomic Energy Commission. The U.S. government officially acknowledged its existence only in 2013 after decades of secrecy. Now, the timing of these earthquakes also comes at a time when speculation about a series of American scientists, a number of them who have died or gone missing in the recent years, that has been garnering attention. Some of the scientists have been linked to secretive scientific research, including on nuclear weapons. The cases are under investigation by the White House, the U.S. Congress, and the FBI. On Thursday, President Donald Trump said a full report is being prepared on this issue. As mystery over the UFOs continues to be a talking point in America, a retired American admiral has now stirred a hornet's nest with his fresh claims on aliens. In an interview with the media portal, Tim Gallaudet, who served 32 years in American Navy, claimed that aliens do exist. He said, and I'm quoting him here, "We are being visited and surveilled by a higher order of intelligence, one we do not understand." According to him, the phenomena was seen in air as well as water, maintaining that humans are not alone in this universe. He stressed that Americans have the right to know about this new reality. In the past, he has also testified before the U.S. Congress regarding these claims. Now remember, U.S. President Donald Trump announced that his administration would release as much information as possible on UFOs in the near future.
We're going to be releasing a lot of things that we have, and I think some of it's going to be very interesting to people. I've interviewed people, my first term primarily, but I interviewed some pilots, very solid people. and they said they saw things that you wouldn't believe. So you're going to be reading about it.
In the last few months, speculation has been rising about those linked to UFO research and those seeking disclosure on aliens. For instance, the sudden death of UFO investigator David Wilcock, allegedly by suicide, sparked a controversy last week. Serving as a director of Stevati Aerospace firm, Wilcock was a major figure in the disclosure movement, which believes that the US government must reveal secret information which it allegedly holds about UFOs and life beyond Earth. And this is not all. American agencies, including the FBI, Department of War, and NASA, have all intensified their probe over the disappearance and the death of 11 American scientists allegedly linked to UFO research. Speculation is that they were targeted by America's enemies owing to their nature of work. All right, moving on, in a surprise diplomatic twist, Donald Trump has raised a toast to Britain, announcing the removal of tariffs on Scotch whisky in honor of King Charles III and Queen Camilla as they wrap up their high-profile visit to Washington. A symbolic gesture, but with real economic punch. But can this move signal a reset in the transatlantic trade ties between the centuries-old allies? We get you more details.
It was diplomacy with a twist of spirit. Just hours after bidding farewell to the British royals, Trump took to social media and announced that the US would scrap tariffs on Scotch whisky, a levy that had long weighed on the industry. For Scotland, this is more than just a policy shift, it's a shot in the arm. Whisky exports are the backbone of the regional economy, supporting distilleries, rural jobs, and a global brand that defines British heritage. American businesses are also set to benefit across the Atlantic. Importers and retailers who have been grappling with higher costs and tighter margins can now breathe easier and bring a wider range of premium products back to the shelves. And then there's the bourbon belt. US producers may face stiffer competition, but the reality is more complex, with deep trade links between Scotch and bourbon, including shared supply chains and the crucial trade in oak barrels. During Trump's first term, his tariffs against the European Union included Britain and also targeted the UK's whisky industry. The US remains the primary export market for Scotch whisky, accounting for $1.2 billion per year. The timing couldn't be better for the UK, as it looks to assert itself in a new global trade landscape. Improved access to the US market delivers a clear win and a powerful message about the value of strategic alliances. Trump has repeatedly criticized Keir Starmer over London's reluctance to back Washington's war on Iran. But the Royal Charm offensive by King Charles appeared to have paid off with a breakthrough. Diplomacy works best when it comes with a splash of whiskey.
The joint anti-jihadist force of Niger, Burkina Faso and Mali has carried out intense air campaigns inside Malian territory following coordinated attacks by Al-Qaeda-linked militants and Tuareg separatist groups. This has been announced by the government of Niger. The developments follow what is being described as the largest assault on Mali in nearly 15 years. Over the weekend, jihadist fighters and their Tuareg separatist allies launched a major offensive, capturing the key northern town of Kidal and killing Mali's defense minister Sadio Samara. Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger together form the Alliance of the Sahel states. The bloc had initially deployed a joint force of 5,000 troops to combat jihadist groups, a number that was increased to 15,000 in mid-April. All three AES member countries are currently led by military juntas that took power through coups between 2020 and 23. Authorities in Niger have accused foreign powers, particularly France, of sponsoring the weekend attacks in Mali. Niger has reportedly accused France of attempting to destabilize the region, allegations that have been denied by Paris. Amid heightened security concerns, the Nigerian government has now cancelled 1st of May parades across the country. A new frontline is emerging in the race to merge the human brain with machines, and China is moving fast to take the lead. At the center of this shift is a controversial figure, Charles Liebe, once a Harvard scientist convicted in the United States for hiding his links to a Chinese talent program. Liebe is now at the heart of China's next big tech push. Let's tell you more on this. Liebe is currently leading research at the iBrain Institute in Shenzhen. This Chinese state-backed hub is focused on developing brain-computer interfaces, or BCI technology, that seeks to directly connect the human brain to digital systems. Now, this technology, which is known as brain-computer interfaces, or BCI, is already showing results, helping paralyzed patients regain movement and enabling direct brain signal control of devices. But the stakes go far beyond healthcare. U.S. defense assessments warn that China's People's Liberation Army has explored using BCI to engineer super soldiers by boosting their mental agility and situational awareness. For years, the United States has led early-stage research into neural interfaces, with academic projects like BrainGate and private firms such as Neuralink pushing human trials. The U.S. Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, or the DARPA, has also invested millions into neural interface programs. But now China is rapidly closing that gap with billions in state funding and a national plan that treats brain technology as a future industry. Liebe's new lab offers a glimpse into that ambition and large-scale primate research facilities with access to dedicated chip-making tools, something increasingly limited in the U.S. due to regulatory and ethical constraints. Analysts say this combination of funding, infrastructure, and talent recruitment could give China an edge in scaling BCI tech faster. The concern for the U.S. is also strategic, and the implications go beyond the lab. Under China's military-civil fusion model, breakthroughs in civilian research can quickly feed into defense capabilities, and it's raising strategic concerns in Washington. So while the U.S. still holds an edge in early innovation, China has been building something different with large-scale speed and state-backed momentum. Beijing is pulling ahead in a technology that could define the future of human-machine interaction. We now shift our focus to football legend Maradona. A psychologist charged in the trial over Diego Maradona's death has told an Argentine court that the soccer great had bipolar disorder and was a narcissist. Carlos Diaz is facing the charge of manslaughter with reckless intent for prescribing the wrong medication. The El Clarín newspaper has cited Diaz as saying that, quote, he could bring a country to its knees, but one glass of alcohol could bring him to his knees. In fact, he goes on to say that the first image of Maradona shocked him because he was just like his father, an alcoholic who had died a few months earlier. Diaz told the court that he believed Diego Maradona wanted to change his lifestyle days before he died on the 25th of November in 2020 at the age of 60. While the trial is examining whether members of his medical and care team bear criminal responsibility for his death, it has shocked Maradona's fans, and it points to the reality of famous celebrities struggling with bipolar condition. Singer Jimi Hendrix, for example, who wrote the song Manic Depression, described his trouble with mood swings. He died at the age of 27 in 1970. Actor Russell Brand has been open about his diagnosis of bipolar disorder. He published his first autobiography in 2007 and detailed his struggles with drug abuse and addictions. Catherine Zeta-Jones, another Hollywood star, checked herself into a mental health facility for treatment of bipolar II disorder, which is marked by longer bouts of depression. This was during her husband Michael Douglas's cancer treatment. Singer Mariah Carey was diagnosed with bipolar disorder as well in 2001, but she told the People magazine that she lived in denial and isolation for years. She said that she finally sought treatment after a series of professional and romantic issues. Author Ernest Hemingway, the Nobel Prize-winning author, was reportedly prone to manic depressive behavior as well. In fact, he eventually shot himself in the head in 1961. Moving on, in cities across the globe, Gen Z are preferring a new kind of party. The shots are made of espresso and the crowd is wide awake. Welcome to the world of coffee raves, a fast-growing trend blending dance culture with caffeine-fueled clarity. Take a look at this report.
Dancing no longer belongs only to the night or those holding a drink. With Gen Z, preferences are changing. Coffee raves are increasingly becoming popular in cities across the globe. At its core, a coffee rave flips the usual nightlife script. Cafes and sometimes even bakeries set up. Live DJ sets at sunrise or early afternoon, turning coffee time into a high-energy, sober celebration. The drinks are specialty coffees like matcha shots and creative lattes. Dancing to techno at sunrise while sipping coffee might sound unexpected, but it reflects a deeper desire to have vibrant, alcohol-free ways to connect, celebrate, and feel alive. This format has its roots in London. In 2013, a firm named Morning Gloryville reimagined the party as a sunrise ritual. Their London-based events blended DJs with yoga and espresso shots before the workday began. According to its co-founder, the aim was to bring conscious clubbing to the world stage.
I feel like Morning Gloryville has brought this new movement to the world, and people are starting, more and more people, even friends of mine, are becoming more comfortable partying, socializing, letting themselves be seen, go wild without the influence of alcohol and drugs, and that's just really beautiful to see,
Soon, similar ideas emerged globally. For instance, Daybreaker, a sober rave initiative, started holding such monthly parties in the US where coffee and not alcohol was the drink of choice. This concept has now caught up in Berlin too, with coffee raves taking place from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. This comes at a juncture when rising rents and changing habits since the pandemic have forced a number of the city's famous nightclubs to close down. Meanwhile, in India, bhajan clubbing has gained traction in the last few years. At these events held in multiple cities, not a drop of alcohol is served. Instead, Gen Z dance to Hindu devotional songs. It offers youth an opportunity to connect with spirituality. At a time when young people today face a plethora of challenges ranging from job uncertainty to political instability, conscious clubbing marks a break from the past. With Gen Z's enthusiasm for health and self-improvement, coffee raves signals a shift towards experiences that celebrate without excess and bring people together in new ways.
Ahead of World Press Freedom Day on the 3rd of May, a new report is now raising alarm over a sharp rise in online abuse targeting women in public life. The global survey by UN Women, The Nerve and Partners finds that women journalists and media professionals are increasingly facing sophisticated digital attacks, ranging from deep fakes to non-consensual image sharing. The report shows that online violence is not just widespread, but it is evolving in both scale and complexity. Around 12% of women in public facing roles, including journalists, activists, and human rights defenders, say that their personal or intimate images have been shared without their consent. 6% report being targeted by deep fakes, while nearly 1 in 3 say that they have received unsolicited sexual messages online. The report says much of this abuse is coordinated, designed to silence women and undermine their professional credibility. In fact, the impact is already visible. More than 40% of the women surveyed across 119 countries say they now self-censor on social media to avoid being targeted. Nearly 1 in 5 say they have also self-censored in their professional work. For women journalists, the numbers are even more concerning. 45% report self-censoring online in 2025, which is a 50% increase since 2020, and almost 22% say they hold back in their reporting or professional output. The report also notes a rise in legal action, with more women turning to law enforcement in response to online abuse. But the consequences go beyond work. Nearly a quarter of women journalists surveyed have been diagnosed with anxiety or depression linked to online violence. The report warns that targeted online abuse could have a chilling effect on press freedom and women's participation in public life. With that, we're wrapping this edition of Gravitas. But before we go, let's tell you how thousands of Buddhist monks and devotees across India and the world are observing the sacred festivities of Buddha Purnima, the 2570th birth anniversary of Gautam Buddha. The significant Buddhist festival honors Buddha's teachings, compassion, and ideals of non-violence. Take a look at those visuals. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. Good night.
As Michael scripts history at the box office despite mixed reviews, we take a look at the most successful music biopics of all time. Welcome The Devil Wears Prada 2 with our list of iconic fashion films. And know what prompted luxury label Prada to launch a made in India Kolhapuri sandals line. All this and much more with me, Rhythm Sharma, on WION E-Club at these times.
No SUV is too big here. No adventure motorcycle too advanced. Man's ego is of no use in Ladakh. To drive here is to see your life in perspective. To be reminded that there's always time.
Then I figured that if not now, when?
To take the long way. To define your own life.
I keep on reminding myself, why did you leave your job? Don't make this your job.
Coming up this week on WION Drive at these times.
The next few days are going to be intense.
भाई हमें अपना जाल में खिलाओ.
A number of allegations and accusations being made by both parties.
हम लड़ेंगे, बांग्ला जीतेंगे.
इस बार बंगाल में भी कमल खिलना तय है.
5.73 crore voters in the state will get to determine who is going to rule Tamil Nadu next.
Get the latest updates.
Destroy their
Breaking
missiles
news.
and raise their...
Credible, clear, continuous. Experts across aisles. Diverse voices, one platform. WION World is one.
Campaigns, elections, alliances, controversies, and power play. Stories that analyze global and domestic politics. A dedicated show with varied perspectives, expert take, citizens' voices, detailed ground reports, and in-depth coverage from political corridors of the world. This is Race to Power, only on WION.
In this rapidly changing world, is your health keeping pace? Best practices and breakthroughs, busting the hype with real insights. the timeless power of yoga and ancient healing. Good food, good mood. Small steps, big impact. Your health matters. Only on WION World is One. Because nothing matters more.
WION, India's global voice. The channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide. Because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION. World is one.
5 states, one powerful voice.
From Tamil Nadu to West Bengal.
We want him to do very well, and I told him that the United States is with him all the way. It was a great victory. The new head of Iraq is somebody that we support very strongly.
Pakistan has opened the land route with Iran. Did they consult you before opening it up to Iran? And are you aware of it?
That was a vicious bee. Vicious bee. Great, I have great respect. Are you from great respect? Are you from Pakistan? I have great respect for Pakistan and for the Field Marshal and for the Prime Minister. Yeah, I know that.
Yesterday you talked about Italy.